Hey, hey, hey. It's Telex, and it's another great old tasty Tuesday. I am thirsty. Hope you are too. Oh my goodness. It's been a long week already. Seems like it's the same week over and over and over again sometimes, I tell you. Well, with that said, though, we're going to have a little fun with something a little different this week. We had a great time in Highland Distillery of Deanston last week, and great drams as usual. This time we're going to take a little side trip to a Speyside distillery called Speyside. And this is not a joke. It's not an error. Hey, Santa Cruz, good to see you, man. Um, it's not a joke or an error. These guys are actually named themselves Speyside, just like the region. So it's a little confusing. I actually happened off the first bottle we're going to take a look at. I just found it just by pure chance and taking a gamble at something a little different. And I'll get into that more in a second. This is the bottle. It's old school. It's 12, and this one is discontinued, but they also have, I guess maybe the reason they changed a little bit of their name was to stand out a little bit more and not be so confusing. So they recently, well, I shouldn't say recently, it was in 2016, they decided that they were going to do a complete relaunch of the whole shebang. So instead of calling themselves the Speyside Distillery, they just shortened the name just to Spey, and that's it. And so all these newer bottlings, you'll see, the name, the style, the font, everything is completely different, and it looks more like this now. And they have regular offerings too. In the second hour, we're going to take a look at the 18, though, the new one, and see what both Malt and I think about that. Having a dram of, let's see what Santa's up to. Let me pull it out here. Having a dram of, decent 18 right now. That's a really good one to me. I have to be in the mood for a straight up bourbon cask influence, though. There's no sherry in that one. But if you are in the mood for a straight up bourbon in your face with some good mature age on it, I think it's pretty much right in the pocket. What do you think about that one, Santa? As far as if you were going to give it a score, I can't remember what I gave it per se, but if I didn't give it at least like a 4 out of 5 with 0.25 increments, I'd be surprised. I'm not sure if I went as high as 4.5 or 4.25 even. I might have, but I have to go back and look. But I've just do a search on reviews so with Telex, and you'll bring it up if you want to take a look on this side. Hey, thanks, Steven. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this album, actually. I like all their stuff. I was lucky enough to um, I want to say grow up, but partially hang out in college, we'll say, uh, down in Oklahoma City in the mid 90s. And these guys started in 83, believe it or not, as kind of a acid punk rock band. And they kind of evolved from there. Great musicians, and I could talk about that for hours in itself. I'm a huge Ronald Jones guitar player fan. He played on a lot of their older albums, like Transmissions from a Satellite Heart and Clouds Taste Metallic and Zarica, and I'm trying to think. Of course, the big ones, Soft Bulletin. That was the first one where he. No, actually, Zarica was the first one he didn't play, and then uh, that was the first album they did after he left. But I can go on for a long time just about that band. So appreciate the shout out. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun looking into this. What is your happy? Oh yeah, I know a happy hour today. That does suck. Well, let's make sure Malt get his invite right now, so he can pop on anytime he wants. And I forgot about that. Yeah, Eric couldn't do his happy hour. I forgot. So first pour is going to be a Glenallachie 10 cast strength. Is that the Famari? No, this is the 18. The Famari is a NAS, which is part of their new line, and we'll talk more about that once I get Malt in the hizzle here. What's up, guys? U.S. small batch number 3 for Kilhoman. I bet it's wonderful. It sounds incredible. I'm trying to think. I think I've had one of their small batches. I just can't remember if it was. The small batches are different than the Impexes. Those are the ones I get confused sometimes. Good evening to you, also, Trooper. How's the Louisiana down there? Hopefully, you're not getting inundated by wind already. I know there's another hurricane kind of in the area there. Oh, it's for sure no water. Oh, I think he's given a rating on the Deanston. Yeah, Deanston 18. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Was around a 4. Kilkerran 8 sherry cask. That sounds great. Speaking of a 4, there's a 4.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm at 3.75 right now, but I could be a 4 with a little less water in me. Take me neat, brother. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been already a long week, and it's only Tuesday.
Yeah, I hear you.
It just seems like the same week plays over and over in a weird way, but overall things are pretty decent.
Good.
Excited to get into something a little different and get your take on a couple things. And sorry that you didn't get to do your happy hour earlier.
I apologize if there's folks in the chat. I just had a last minute kind of change of schedule today, and so I wasn't able to do it. So my apologies for that, y'all. But we'll be back we're off next week for the Thanksgiving holiday stuff, so 2 weeks. December 1st, we'll be back in action. But eager to get into this Spey, man. I got the 12 in the glass, but how you been otherwise?
Pretty good. Don't forget to go ahead and pour maybe when we're about 18 minutes away from the hour change. Definitely pour you a glass of that 18 to just have it settle. Definitely. But yeah, I've been poured and I've been eager to get into them. Yeah, I'm not sure if on the week of the Thanksgiving, if I might pop like a little, might not be like a show, but just a kind of like if I decide to open up like something special, maybe that Art Big 19 might be interesting. I got to open it to do a review at some point anyway. And this is the batch 1. This is not the new batch 2 or 3 or whatever they're on now.
Good time as any for that, right? You've been sitting on that one for a little while, if I'm not mistaken.
I have, man. I've been way too long. I've been. That's the only bottle I think I don't have open, because when Bob was here, he talked me into opening that Lagavulin 18. And we'll be doing a review of that later on. And I haven't done that 19 yet. And I figure, well, might as well, because I know I want to get it pour out to you, Steve and Connor, a couple of the guys that have already shared some glorious whiskey with us, and try to return the favor on the side a little bit, at least for the batch 1. Hopefully they already haven't had it. And if they have, then I'll try to find something else, I guess, that they like.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. That's good to hear. So why don't we dive in?
Yeah, I'll give you kind of a quick background.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit. Admit I'm super ignorant about Spey. So really interested in getting a little background on this as we dive in. So,
and before we start, this Speyside is the name of the distillery. It's kind of confusing because Speyside is also the region that a lot of distilleries are in. And I'm not sure the reasoning. I did try to find through the history of why they chose the name. It's not readily, visibly apparent for some reason, but I'm assuming it was just, this was back in 1895, I think, when they were established. 1770 is when they started, I know, trying to get things together, and I think 1895 was when they first started as a distillery, and this present company run goes back to the 1920s, the way I kind of interpreted their history. It's old and new at the same time. They also, after using the Speyside name, and the first one we're going to do is the standard 12, and you're in for a treat, Malt. You know why? This is the best whiskey in the world.
You didn't tell me that. And I know we were drinking the best whiskey tonight. I would have set my expectations even higher, man. I didn't realize we were having the best whiskey
in the world.
In the world.
I swear that's what it says right on the bottom.
I love it, man. You got to love advertisers, man. They're going to find every angle they can to convince you of the quality of their products, right? There's another one, or like Art Bag, for example. They call themselves like the ultimate. It's the ultimate whiskey. Or like, there's a couple others too that I think have some just like over the top
ballsy claims, basically. This one is, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, this is a bottle that's pre-2016. 2016 is when they changed their line, and they changed their name from Speyside just to straight up Spey. And this is what 18 is going to be part of that new line that we're going to try later. This one is, I believe, and I couldn't try, I tried to find like a date on it, but I have a feeling this is from 2015 is when this bottle was released. I only picked it up because I was looking around, and I was sick of like the typical monkey shoulder slash, famous grouse slash bells, the typical blends. I wanted a single malt, but I wanted something that was around $30. So I thought, 12-year-old, it's got a good statement. I mean, it's very dated look on the bottle, as you can tell.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you say that was 2015 or 1915? Because that's really well. I did it.
Yeah, I honestly, it could be a lot older than the 2015. It was a guess because I know it's at least before 2016, just because of the way the font and the look of the bottle. But anyway, I didn't, normally wouldn't pick something like that up, and I saw it and I thought, well, I could spend the same amount of money for a blend, or I can get a single malt. And I do like Speyside distilleries in general. They're usually fruitier with a little bit of a Highland profile, but they're usually on a fruitier, sweeter side. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll give it a little try. And then later on, after having that, I saw somebody do a review on a Spey. It was it's like the Femari, I think, or Trutina. They have like some NASs, and I heard decent news about it. So I thought, well, if we're going to do a new distillery with a new, try to get a higher age statement, might as well go for the 18, and that's why I chose to go with this. And this. We'll go into that more later, but as you can tell, man, they've really changed the look and bottling and everything.
You mentioned something when you were describing kind of the profile. You said it was kind of Speyside with some Highland general profile. For folks who might not know in the chat, like, how would you describe the difference between those two things? There is, premising by there is like some debate about like the whole region thing and whether or not like there are extreme differences between in terms of style. But I generally think that there's, in a lot of cases, some of that. So I'd love to hear kind of how you would distinguish between like Speyside versus Highland, which I think are probably two of the more closer together, maybe Lowland as well. But.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because just like the English language, there are exceptions to every rule when it comes to trying to profile a whiskey, as you well know already too. Typically, though, when I look at the regions, and I do differentiate islands from Highland, and some people don't. I wouldn't call them purists, but I would think that people that accept islands as its own region are more of expansionists, maybe is the word for it. I don't know how to.
Imperialists, colonialists.
There you go. But I do. The reason why I identify islands as its own profile is because it definitely has, to me, a distinct difference. And with Highland, we'll just start with Highland in general. Those to me are more of your floral slash. They have like both the floral and the fruit profile typically in their lighter whiskeys, and definitely on the lightest end of the spectrum when it comes to overall Scotch whiskey profiles. Next to Lowlands. Lowlands are really similar, but they're actually less fruit. They're even more floral to me in general than your typical Highland ones. But there are exceptions. Like Bladnoch has some really good serious sherry whiskeys that don't follow that at all. But if you do get a Glenkinchie or a Dalwhinnie, things like that, they do have a similar, profile when it comes to like their florally, and they have the fruit, but a little bit going on. Then you go to the Speysides, and that's when you get more of full flavor fruit. Usually it's fruit in your face compared to your, Highlands being floral, lowlands being more floral. The islands to me typically have like more of a briny maritime slash spicy kick to it. Your Taliskers, things like that. Isla, of course, is known for its peat and smoke. Not always the rule, but I'd say 70% of your whiskey out of Isla's definitely peated. I'm trying to think. Is that cover? I think let's see. We got Lowlands, Highlands, Speyside, Isla.
I mean,
Campbelltown. And Campbelltown has this funky factor. That's the Dunwich warehouse and the leather, that type of thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good description, and I generally, from my experience, tend to agree with Highlands. The only thing I would add is kind of I get a lot of the like orchard fruit, which is just a bougie way of saying apple, but like I get a lot of like yellow apple, not like heavy flavor, but like maybe almost closer on the like sweeter cider side. But I think the issue primarily is that ultimately, like the cask influence can mask so much of this stuff. I mean, like there are plenty. Like I find personally, Highland and Speyside to be the most difficult to distinguish between. Like the obviously Isla and Campbelltown, I think are generally speaking very, very distinct, and you can tell. The lowland stuff I tend to notice more on the palate because it is usually triple distilled. And
good point. Triple distilled, that's
like
true.
Very Irishy, it's a very Irish way of doing things. And I'm not sure why. There's maybe a lot of people there that came from Ireland, who knows, or vice versa. But I think they're like, the Speyside, because there's so many distilleries in Speyside region and so many like distinct flavors, I always have a little difficulty between the two. But I think the way that you laid it out is right. I mean, the more robust full flavor, I think, tends to be more on the Speyside side of things. So that's really helpful.
But it's like you said, there are these weird exceptions. Like I'm trying to think of a good example that really stands out, but they don't. It's not coming, right to my head right away. But you'll find them as you go on your journey. Like, and some distilleries will be known for a profile, and then they'll throw you a curveball. Like they might typically do like a floral fruit deal, and then all of a sudden they'll release like a sherry bomb, especially when you get into independent bottlings and stuff like that. So
totally. Let us know in the chat if folks have any thoughts or opinions on this. I mean, there are definitely some who are adamant that, like Robin Robinson, for example, he's adamant that it's completely a marketing thing. I'm not sure I agree with that completely, but I base that just off my own experience. But
I think this is a good way to say it. Yeah, it's tough. But I agree. I don't think it's a marketing thing by any means, because when I was starting my journey, I definitely took the regions to mind, and I'm glad I did, because when you think of Glenmorangie, it definitely fits that profile. When you think of Dalwhinnie, it definitely fits that profile. Typically,
definitely.
I think it helps to me when you're kind of at least getting started out. But once you do try a lot more things in especially when you get to independent bottlings and stuff, then the regions don't really matter as much. I will kind of say. But when you're looking at distillery bottles, typically, definitely regions play a big role.
That's interesting. I had not considered that, so that's cool to know. I saw that Disappear's got Oban West Highland, right? So like their whole pitch is like it's got some of that island, almost Isla influence. You get a little bit of peat in Oban, and they have a bit more of that kind of like brininess. I think you said earlier. That's a good way to describe it. I mean, it's interesting, right? Because ultimately there are so many exceptions to the rules, and with the exception of maybe Campbelltown and Isla, and maybe to some extent the quote islands, right? Like there's if you put them out blind, I wouldn't be able to tell for the most part between Highlands and Speysiders, to be honest.
Yeah, because when you get towards like the Highland Park is definitely a breed of its own, as well as Aaron, and it is kind of tough to follow that. He's already got a look.
Yeah, well, I got it poured, but two things before we start. First of all, love the Flaming Lip shirt.
Thanks.
It's great. What is the tail of the tape on this regarding ABV filtration?
Oh,
all that?
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Let's get into the facts of this particular one. Now, I was trying to get some more information on the side, and since this first one is a discontinued offering, was tougher to find. All the possible extras on the side, but we definitely know it's 12 years old at least. Thank goodness. This one, thankfully, is at 43%. Now, I was surprised, to be honest with you, when I picked it up, because I was thinking it was probably going to be 40 when you
right. That's what I would have guessed. Yeah,
but thankfully it's a 43, and but as far as like anything, I'm going to suspect by color, and I can't speak for this bottle. I will say that their 18, a newer line, typically is no coloring, no chill filtering, which is an A+ in my book.
Yeah, wow.
But this one, it doesn't specifically say, so I'm not gonna say yes or no. If it does, I would think of just added coloring just for consistency's sake. It's not any. It's not definitely not like a dark E150A Auchentoshan Dalmore type of thing. They don't do that. Thankfully, I don't believe. And one thing that's I forgot to mention about the.
What did you say the price was on the 12? And it's not a blend, right? This is
straight up a single malt. It was like $30. So I was like,
all right.
hard not to
put it in the bargain bin. Let's see what we find.
That's what the reason why I picked it up. I was like, well, even though it's not a known brand, it does have an age statement, and it does say it's single malt. After I did some research,
what you can't go. I mean, these are all good signs. 43%, $30, 12-year age statement, right on.
And I want to emphasize, this is not Glen Spey. There's another distillery called Glen Spey that looks kind of like this. This is also not Sheldig. Sheldig has a Speyside bottling that they do, and these companies are completely different. The Glen Spey that you might have heard of, that one is owned by Diageo. Now, this guy is completely independent. They're like Aaron or Kilhoman. They don't have a big brand like Bacardi or Pinot Ricard or LVMH.
Another example, Glenfarclas is, I think, their own thing too, if I'm not mistaken.
Glenfarclas looks like they are JG Grant. They're not huge. Okay. But they're like I think you've seen JG Grant's. They got like a blend, right?
Is an example. Ben Romick, are they still indie?
Ben Romick.
There's probably not many anymore that are.
Ben Romick is Gordon McPhail owns them. Okay. I can tell you real fast. Aventurg is a new independent bottler. They're distillery. They're independent. Aaron, like I said. Other than that, it's Ballindolik, which you probably haven't heard. They're not well known at all. Daft Mill, which is a new distillery that charges a lot of money, but they're very crafty for their stuff. Fettercairn, I'm sorry, not Fettercairn, but Glenallachie is an independent.
Glenallachie, yeah, okay.
That's the one you were probably thinking of. Surprisingly, Jura is independently owned.
Jura. Go back and check out our Jura video from a couple weeks ago if you haven't seen it. We went all through. We went through 3 Juras, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Linkwood, Speyburn. I'm sorry, not Speyburn, but Speyside. Linkwood, I said Speyside, and the only other one besides that is Wolfburn, which is a new distillery you might have heard of.
Oh yeah, they're way up north in the Highlands, I recall. Yeah, they're like right on the coast, I think, of really on the north end of Scotland. But well, cool. Glad to hear. Shall we?
I think we shall, man. I've been looking forward to this all week, and I'm so glad that you can join me for a dram, and I was glad that you were able to get it out there where you are there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, I brought it with me, so I was thinking ahead. Ooh,
interesting lemon curd vanilla or something.
Ginger. There's some ginger, like gingerbread, pickled ginger, lemon, apple.
Good call on the pickled ginger. I didn't. You nailed that one because I was wondering what that interesting combination was.
Yeah, it's almost the sour tart note.
Huh.
Well, it smells like it's got pretty robust.
Yeah, for a basic 12, it's for that price point, it's surprising.
Some vanilla. There's definitely some ex-bourbon in here.
There's a little bit of florals going on too, light florals,
Cinnamon.
like a honeysuckle.
Yeah, honey for sure. What was you said? The second thing you said was lemon, right?
Yeah, it had like a lemon curd kind of a.
Yeah,
but not in your face, not like like lemon meringue pie or anything, but like a slight lemon wafer, maybe lemon wafer cookie or something.
Yeah, well put. Yeah, well put. It's quite nice.
Yeah, it's tough when you're only dealing with 43. I do wish it was 46 to 48. That would have been awesome, but it probably would have been 50 to $60 too. So
right. Yeah, that lemon is pretty common. It's almost like cleaning product lemon, but not chemically. But you know what I'm saying. It's sharp like that.
Yeah, it's got this. It's funny because it's sometimes I go in for a nose and it bites me as it's going to be overly acidic. And then sometimes I go in for a nose and it seems like it's going to be extremely sweet. And it's like
you took the words out of my mouth. I literally was thinking the same thing of a couple seconds ago. It was like sometimes I go in and the lemon isn't as strong, and then other times it is. I'm also getting like, is it salt? I don't know if it's salty, but it's like there's a little bit of a brininess to it. I can't quite put my finger on it. Ginger. I mean, this is reminding me a bit of a Craig Ellicky 13. It's sweeter, but in that, like, it has a good amount of sour, and a lot of kind of spice. It's not as fruit forward as it was on the initial nose. It's definitely a bit on that side.
Yeah, it's more. It definitely has a citrus.
Maltiness to it as well.
Yeah, that was coming in. It was funny when I went back for a nose. I was like, "What is that other note that's right underneath?" It changed from that tart citrus, then it went more toward that vanilla wafer cookie sweetness. And I was like, "Yeah, wow, that's like." It's weird how it changes a lot. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to something like this. It's like you don't expect it to be very fluid. You expect it to be pretty basic and stagnant and weak. Yeah. But it's actually different, you know.
All right.
Well, not overly complex or anything, that's for sure. It does have a bit of a bite for 43% alcohol wise.
It does. There's some minerality to it as well. I'm getting it's reminding me in a sense of the heaviness. It's heavy, like similar to like Anak, like limestone.
Yeah, it's got like a thickness.
It's kind of muddled. It has a thickness to it, right? It's a little bit muddled on the delivery. Like I'm getting a lot of, I should say I got a lot of like, again, that lemon cookie, which I think is spot on. The lemon cookie note, there's a bit of that kind of apple, maybe a bit of pear melon thing going on. Maybe, and then a little milk chocolate as it goes into the finish, which is moderate, maybe like close to a medium finish. Malted milk a little bit, but it's very subtle. It kind of drops off pretty quick.
Yeah, the mouth coat's on the thinner side, medium to thin, I'd say on this one. Yeah. ABVs is so low. It doesn't help with the palate part. I like the thickness of the taste, but yeah, there is a slight. I'm not sure. I guess I would call it minerality, maybe.
It's just it's like heavier. I don't know how to say this properly. It's like heavy You know?
It's not as bad as like sucking on a fork or anything, but it's
right. It's
it
like
does.
when you have a can of soup and there's a little bit of that tin flavor to it. You know, it's like it's kind of hanging around. Boy, that lemon really is assertive. You know, it's really sweet when it arrives, and then the development, you get a bit of a punch. It's a little bit of ethanol, but then it's just like sharp, cloying lemon.
Yeah, I'm gonna pour a little more and put maybe just one little bitty baby drop of water on it just to see if I can get anything out of
Yeah.
it more. Because yeah, the nose actually was pretty decent, but the palate's where it kind of fell.
Yep.
The initial palate was good. It's that second level of palate where it really fell apart to me.
Yeah, I just put a little bit of water on this as well.
Like you said, the finish was a little that I'm not liking the tinny flavor there, but it's too bad because the nose was actually doing it pretty well.
Lemon lime with water.
Oh, lemon lime.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
it's coming through really strong. I don't know how much you're going to love it.
So it's bringing out the citrus in your face, basically.
Yeah. That apple melon thing is still there, but it's fainter than it even was with before water.
I'm gonna let
it actually seems like the nose has thinned out pretty considerably with water. I actually personally liked it neat, I think.
Yeah. That's what I was afraid of. But sometimes, like if you get a great nose and if you time it right, you do your nose first, then you add your drop of water, and then you do your palate if it helps. If it doesn't help, it doesn't really matter. But
yeah, there was something we drank a few weeks back where I recall we were both really impressed with the nose, and then it kind of fell apart. Boy, I wish I could remember what it was now. I'll have to think about it for a second. But this is eerily reminding me of that experience. It's so much lemon lime on the nose now. Like it's almost dwarfing everything else. There's maybe a bit of a powdered sugar thing too, but
I was gonna say I think mine got a little sweeter for some reason. Let me see something though.
I don't know.
Yeah, I get that lime that you're talking about. I do get this like slight, almost like pixie stick kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it was like I kind of picked that up too. It's like powdered sugar, but maybe it's tartar, so maybe the pixie stick is better. Behind all of it, though, there's a bit of a like vanilla. It's almost like vanilla sugar cookie.
Yeah, vanilla wafers definitely with like lemon dust on them or something. That's pretty good. It's definitely. I don't think it helped the nose with the water by any means. I do prefer it neat with the water on the nose. Let's see what we get palate wise.
Sweet, sour.
Yeah, it got sweeter on the palate, which to me it helped the palate the first initial maybe. Is it as metallic as it was before? I'm not getting that, thankfully.
No, I'm not either.
That could be a good thing.
It seems like the water might have actually helped.
On the palate, though.
Juicy fruit gum. You know what I mean? Just that kind of generic, I don't want to say artificial, but generic sweet fruit.
The taste didn't move you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it knocks a bit of that, the slightly alkaline metallic thing out, but
I do like this.
There's a hint of like, for me, it's not even milk chocolate anymore, it's more white chocolate.
You nailed it. And I'm also getting a nice burst of white pepper after the water, which really actually that helped it a lot, I think, on the palate.
Yeah, I do too. This is a beguiling whiskey, man.
It's kind of weird because it's like I like the nose up front. Did not get the initial palate neat, but if you nose it neat, put your drop on, and then taste, it's actually not bad. And I'd say that seems well worth $30. I mean, I don't know. I'd say I wouldn't go farther than 40 maybe for it, but for $30, I think that's. I don't know. I mean, it's not like a home run by any means, but it's I've
You getting
definitely
any
had a lot
banana?
worse for that price.
Yeah. Are you getting any banana? Like it's almost like it's like in the background. It's like a
Yeah,
little. There's like a not bananas Foster because the chocolate is gone with water, but there's a bit of a banana tropicalness to this. Mostly banana.
to
It's
me, it's a
very faint. It's like a. You ever had banana pudding where like it tastes like banana, but the banana is very secondary to just the sweetness. It just has like a banana hue to it.
to me this is like a dried banana chip. Like if you ever had a dried banana
Oh,
chip
sure,
flavor.
sure. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's even better. Yeah. Huh.
It's that's a pretty interesting finish, and it's not long, but it's not after the water. It seemed like it helped if, on the finish a little too, but not much past like short to medium phase. But it's interesting. It's not crazy complex by any means, but it's got enough going on to make it
Yeah,
somewhat interesting, I'd say. I don't know.
yeah. I'm kind of right there with you, man.
Has anybody ever had a Spey or a Speyside before or after the change? 2016 is when they changed the new line, like I was saying. And has anyone had anything? And I think they had an 18 on this old range. Has anyone had the original Speyside distillery stuff? And if not, has anyone had any of the new Speys? And if let me know if you liked them or disliked them, just out of curiosity.
Hmm.
What do you think as far as the after?
Man, this finish is really pulling me in two directions. I with water, it's better because the good part of it lasts longer, but then it still gets kind of sour and a little just off. It's like sour melon. I don't know, like honeydew melon to be precise. Not like cantaloupe or something. It's like that. Honeydew is very like subtle,
It's a real greeny, yeah, green melony
and then you
taste.
have that lemon lime thing. I. This is a tough one, man.
It's kind of all over, I guess.
It is all over the place, right? Like, it's hard to pin down. Um,
Good to see you, Cohen.
hey, Colin, what's up, buddy? And our good friend Daniel's in the house, who's pouring an incredible like cast strength Edredauer tonight. That he was telling me, yeah,
Oh man,
57%er, man. I'm like, damn.
is there a age statement on that sucker? What, or is it a cask like a mature
Okay, 11 year,
maturation?
10 year, 11 or 10 year, I think.
That'd be perfect, man.
Yeah.
This is cherry flavored syrup with complexity like crazy. I'm
Yeah.
drinking is 57.3. Okay, that sounds spot on, man. That would be nice. We got to do an Edredauer sooner or later. I've been trying to get like an old one, but they haven't been around that long. It seems like.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't know. Do you want to go first, or else I can?
I'll go ahead. This to me this is like it. I definitely would call it a decent find. It's definitely not going to blow your socks off, and that's for beginning and. Well, it might impress like a beginning whiskey drinker for what you get for the price, but for anyone that's been around the block a few times, it's not really going to show anything you haven't seen before. I do like the price point on the old bottle of it. If you see it sitting around, I think it's worth a pickup, but only if you're getting tired of the same old same old. If you're always getting the same blends and the same daily sipper, it's as good, I think, as maybe like a. I don't know. It's might not be as good as the Highland Park Magnus, but to me, it's better than your one of the mill like Johnny Walker type of stuff. I, I guess it's like in between that. I would give it like it's right at about average though, but I don't know. I like some of it with the changes with the water make it kind of interesting, a little more complex than a typical 12 in some aspects, but depends on the distillery. This is a tough one, man. I wish the mouth coat was a little bit better. I don't mind the presentation, even though it's kind of a dated deal. for what it is. It's a straight up just. I think I was going to give it a little more than a 3. I'm just going to give it a flat 3. I think it's a good average whiskey. I'd say.
Right on.
I don't know. It's a tough one to rate. You know, it
Yeah.
depends on like if you're gonna into bashing, and the only thing I could really bash it for is like maybe a low ABV and a low like mouth coat being a little too thin, finish not long enough, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, Telex, I think I'm going to have a couple disagreements with you on this one, my friend.
Okay.
I think the presentation is, for the price, is above average. I mean, that you're getting 43%, that you're getting a 12-year-old age statement. Like,
that's true.
I like in that $30-$35 range, to me, like that's great. However, my general feeling on this is like it's a bit of a confusing whiskey. There's nothing really that interesting in it. And if I'm honest with you, I think there are plenty of whiskeys in the 30-35 range, including Johnny Walker. I mean, Johnny Walker Black is peated, so it's a little bit difficult to compare. But if I had $30-$35, I mean, I would get Famous Grouse, Naked Grouse, Monkey Shoulder, not Dewar's, Cuddy Sark Prohibition Edition, Johnny Walker Black. I think those are all more interesting whiskeys than this, despite the fact that this does have a little bit of a uniqueness, which is which I think I said earlier, like it's kind of like Craigellachie 13, like a watered down, you
thin
took the
version,
more of the warehouse, the 13, and put it in a glass, and that's what you get. So all in all, yeah, no, I'm not really impressed. Even at the price point, I think like this is just blah. So like, while it does have some qualities that are interesting, like I just think at the end of the day, if you're going to try and buy a low end introductory Scotch, there's just so many betters than this. Despite the great, the promising presentation, I'm in a 2.25 on this. Like I just think it's a try before you buy. Like if you know somebody that hasn't tried it, and if this profile strikes you, like I'm trying to be honest, like this profile doesn't really do it for me, but I'm not necessarily giving it the lower score because of that. So I would recommend, if you know somebody who has a bottle of this and they pour you some and you're like, actually, I kind of like it. Okay. But other than that, I mean, I think there's just so many in that price range that I think blow this out of the water. I mean, Naked Grouse, for example, I think is one that I immediately thought of, which is just so much richer, so much more flavor. This is kind of languid. It's kind of all over the place. Yeah, 2.25.
I think the Smoky Grouse ruined it for me because once I had that was one of the first scotches I ever had.
Yeah,
It was horrible.
Naked Grouse, man. Naked
it was horrible, man. It was a drain pour. I just couldn't. I couldn't even finish the bottle. It was so bad. After that experience, I didn't go back to the Grouses, but I guess I'll have to try a Naked one.
I'll send you a sample of the Naked Grouse. Look, it's not a world beater, but it's good.
Well, that's good because it is, to me, that is one of my gripes coming into whiskey years ago was finding something where you didn't have to pay a lot to get a decent single malt. And, I guess they do have some of the hit and miss, run of the mill blends and stuff. But to me, it's hard to find a 12 that's not, 50 and up from most Scotch single malt distilleries. I can't think of a bottle that's 12 years old that a distillery does that.
Glenlivet or Glenfiddich 12 go for these days. Not much more than this, right?
I think you might be surprised. I think they're around. Usually, I see them for $40 to $50 typically. But I mean, that's the thing. This is an older bottle, and it might, if this bottle today, which we'll take a look at. I was going to tell you some of the before we get to the other bottle later. Let me pull open some of the stuff that they have now. 1 second. Now, they don't have a new Spey 12, and they did shorten their name instead of Speyside just to Spey. they start off their base with a 40%, which is lower than this 12. It's called the Chairman's Choice. It's 40%. It looks like it's just a straight up, bourbon.
Let's avoid that one.
Yeah, I don't think the chairman would be choosing that one, to be honest with you. Then the second one they have, in the same kind of NAS, but a step above it, would be a 46% called the Royal Choice. This one sounds like it's got a little bit of sherry maybe going on, but it's a guess. They don't really say on the. Let me see if I can find something else on the side here. 1 second.
Juan brought up another one while you're looking. Tomatin 12 is in that $30-some range, and yeah, totally. Like Tomatin 12, I think would probably be my preferred choice over this one, but
that's a rare one. I mean, that is true. I'll agree with him on the Tomatin, but that's one of the very few distilleries I think that has a 12-year-old at that price. It's really tough to find something to that level. Let me see if I can find. No, I don't have any cask information. Sadly, when they posted their information, they'll give you a little story and they'll tell you what they think it tastes like, but they don't tell you what's in the actual makeup of it, which is kind of disturbing. But then you do have the 18, which we'll get into. You also have a tawny port NAS, it looks like, that's called the Tenay. And 46%, they have the Trutina. It's a bit similar, 46%. And Fumari, which is one I've heard of before. Yeah. That's... and
another one, Telex, and this one might be more in your wheelhouse as a point of like reference. I mean, like Glenmora. Like there's a bunch of those that are kind of hovering in that 30-40 range, maybe age stated. I mean, they have a lot of finishes, but I mean, I don't know what the typical Glenmora 12 goes for, but like if you recall your opinion on that, how would you compare those two?
You probably think I'm crazy, but I actually prefer this over the Glenmora 12.
I don't think you're crazy, but I was just curious.
I mean, not by much. Yeah. It's very subjective. The only reason I think this one kind of, I look at it maybe a little differently, is it does have a nice, to me, I like the balance of the flavors with the, even though there is a little bit of bitterness in it, and there is a little bit of brine saltiness, and there is a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of sourness. To me, it's all pretty well balanced. Before the drop of water, it does feel really disjointed. I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah. After the drop of water, though, for me, I do prefer the nose neat, but after the nose, drop a little drop of water on there, and to me, it actually comes together as a pretty. I mean, it's a light dram. It's not as heavy as I wish. I do like the power of the flavor of the Glenmora more, but the Glenmora's profile I might not like as much, because to me this one might be a little bit more interesting, but not by much. It's like, to me, like the Glenmora 12, I give it like a 2.75, and this one I might give a 3. That type of thing. Yeah. Then you're just
on that. I mean, I what you just said regarding, like, the nose was better neat, but the palate and finish was better with water, which is just a frustrating way to drink whiskey. But it's like, come on. But like the difference was significant for me, and as it was for you. And
it is surprising. I'm
Yeah.
really glad they did it at 43%, because I don't think if they presented it to us at 40, I don't think it would have had that impact with that drop of water as much.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a guess, though, because there are some 40% whiskeys that you really do justice with a drop of water, but it's rare to find that perfectly done, balanced whiskey at such a low ABV.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of weird. They have all these like NASs as far as like the Tenay, the Trutina, the Fumari, the Byron's Choice, and all that, and all the other choices. But the only age-stated whiskey they have right now is the 18, which is kind of interesting.
They sound like Speyburn. Like they just put out like tons of NAS whiskeys. Hey, look, man. I mean, they know what they're trying to sell. And
Well, the cool thing about Speyburn is they do have a 15 and a 25. They have some eight and a 10. They have a lot of ages
oh, really?
on
I didn't realize
Speyburn.
that. Yeah, I knew that they had a bunch of NASs, but
I think it might be like a newer, not new, but like a newer line where they had the 10. I know I've had the 15. I know they have a 25. I'm not sure if they have much more than the 10, 15, and 25, but I think I have seen an 18 as well. But not to say that they, I'm not saying that they don't have a boatload of NESs though. That is that's
yeah,
the tough part to deal with. But I'm not sure why these guys. The only thing I could think of is they took all their age stuff that they had with the 12 and thought, well, let's do all these different experimentations to do these NESs. I mean, other than do experimentation, why would you even bother doing an NES? Really,
right. Yeah,
I can't figure it out, to be honest with you.
yeah, I
Unless
hear
you're just
you.
trying to make more money off old young whiskey, probably.
Well, it is a business.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to
Uh-oh.
Juan just said you could have saved $20 and picked up Wild Turkey 101. Funny you bring that up, Juan, because that's my intermission with you right now that I'm sipping on as I prepare for this 18-year-old. So always have a little WT 101 on hand. It's great.
Oh my goodness.
So we
The
got the 18 in the glass, and we'll let this sit for a little bit, and then have you haven't had the 18 yet either, have you?
This 18 or
Yeah,
I have not. This was the first time I ever tried it. I never had the first one was that one, and then when I was looking for an 18, that's when I figured out, oh, well, these guys are the new version of those guys, and then I was trying to find like a 21, but it just didn't exist, and I thought, well, 18 is a good number, and it wasn't crazy expensive or anything. Let me look up and see what was the price point on that one. I don't
do that. I'm going to run and grab some more water, and then we'll get ready for that 18.
All right, man. Let me take a little quick gander because I did get that locally. It wasn't crazy. Let me actually do this a different way. 1 second, guys. I get my stuff usually from Petite Cellars. They have a really good. They don't do shipping, unfortunately, but if you are a Marylander like myself, it's easy and nice to get a lot of stuff through them this way. 125 for 18 year. That's a pretty damn good price. 125 is what it usually. Well, I mean, they probably have a little bit better of a price than others, but it's hard to find a whiskey that's 18 years, that's single malt Scotch, that's under 150. Really, it seems like. Hey, what's up, Daniel? We might. You never know. I think I know I'm already married. I think he might be, but I can't remember. I don't think he is actually. But no one's getting married, man. What's Daniel? The other Daniel. There's too many Daniels here, man. There's Jasons and Daniels. That's why I don't go by Jason because there's so many Jasons and Daniels. Just call it the Jason Daniel show, and it would cover like a lot of people right off the board. Let me see. What do you guys have in here? The 12. Yeah, that is a show that we have been talking about doing. If I can find a decent deal on I actually found a Tomatin 30 for a decent price. It's kind of surprising. I'm not sure. I might actually try to pick it up, but we'll see. Picked up a Highland Park 18 for 140 each in Georgia a couple weeks back. That's a hell of a deal, man. Because usually that old style 18, even when it was new and regular, was around one. I guess it was around 130 to 140. So since it's the old style and it's hard to find, I would consider that a pretty good deal. I'm not sure what the aftermarket price is if you get it via auction would be on that one, but it sounds pretty good. It's calling me Mr. Throttle. I was looking at Steven said he picked up a couple of old Island Park 18s for 140 each, and I was
Oh,
trying to.
nice.
I think they were like 130 to 140 retail, or it might have been 160 at some point right before they did the switch over, though. So that sounds like a pretty good deal, I have to
They've
say.
been like that's one of the 18-year-olds that's been remarkably consistent in its price. Same with Glenmorangie. Like you still find the Glenmorangie in that like 110, 120 range. The Highland Park like 130. I mean, the fact that you found some old ones is apparently a really good thing. But there's just not many that are going to get sub 100. I mean, Tomatin 18 is one. Loch Lomond 18 you can find, but there's not. You can count on one hand how many of those you're going to find that are going to be sub $100 these days.
I find a Tomatin 30 for a decent price that I might pull the trigger on if I'm crazy. I might do it though. It's tempting.
What is a decent price?
I'll have to look at it again because sadly I had a sheet where I had all the prices and everything like lined up, and unfortunately I was going through some backups and I lost my file.
All over it?
But let me take a quick look. If it's where I think I found it, I can tell you just in a second. Let me see if it's still here. And I don't want to give it away just yet in case there's others that are trying to get the same deal. But once I pull it, I will definitely tell people. You can get the 30-year-old supposedly for like around $320.
Really?
I don't know if that's if there's some catch to it or what, but there might be some crazy like tariffs or shipping involved with that. But
something that's.
I was surprised. I was like, for that kind of price, I could maybe pull the trigger on that. Well, yeah. I might have to like do some recon first. But if I do find get it, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could totally discuss that
because we do need to do a Tomatin show. That's for sure. We've not done one of those yet. That'll be fun to do.
In our next show, we're going to be doing Auchentoshan.
Yeah, so after the break, we'll be coming in. I'm trying to find a good, distillery bottle, and I have had the 3-wood. I do enjoy the 3-wood if I want a sweet dram and just a basic, NAS style, $50, 60, I think, somewhere around there. It's not bad. And you're gonna be doing the American oak. Actually, I remember digging it. Like it's been a long time since I've had it, though. It's been ages, so it'll be nice to revisit it.
Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean,
I hear stories about the 21, and okay, you already went through it fast.
Well, it's just so light and easy to do.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We'll tell folks about it later. Yeah.
Yeah, the 21 I'm looking forward is to trying. I mean, I'm sure it's not when you get into triple distilled whiskey, it makes it tougher, I think, because it is very distilled.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll cross that bridge later.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew Page just said, "How is the new Glenmorangie that you picked up?" Yeah, the Malaga. It's really good. I have a review coming out on it relatively soon, and then Telex and I will also be doing a tasting. So it's the first of the private small batch series that Glenmorangie is doing. It's 47.3% non-chill filtered, 4 years. It's 12 years old, and then 8 years ex-bourbon, 4 years first fill Malaga cask, which is basically like a Muscatel PX fusion. Basically, what Malaga is. Quite good. I can tell you that already. It's probably one of my favorite Glenmorangies that I've had. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got a sample ready for you, Telex. I'll be back in Philly relatively soon, and then we'll coordinate that. So
you've had a lot of Glenmorangies too over the years.
I've had a lot of Glenmorangies. I still have the cake. I gotta eventually do a review of that. This is better. The Malaga is better than the cake for sure.
It's funny if you think about it. If you took all of mine and your Ardbeg and Glenmorangie purchases over the years, and we went to LVMH, we should be able to be like, "Hey guys, we should be like your VIPs."
Yeah, for real. I don't know why I've had so many Glenmorangies. It was one of those, you start with the Glenmorangie 10, and their prices were always good. And like, I'll be honest, Glenmorangie does a really good finished whiskeys. Like they do stellar job with their finishes. They're all age stated. you'd like to see them higher ABV. I like some of their private editions.
Oh yeah.
The Speos, for example, which is like one of my favorites, which is the rye one. Awesome. Yeah, I like Glenmorangie. I mean, it's subtle. It's a good juxtaposition to the other stuff I like, which is usually, your cast strength Islas. So, they balance off each other really well. And Glenmorangies are usually reasonably priced.
Yeah, I love my favorite all of the privates that I had was the Tussell probably. I did love the Star too, that second edition of Star. The Milchon was decent. Wasn't as sweet as I was hoping it would be, believe it or not.
I haven't had that one.
It's actually pretty good. I just enjoyed the Tussell more because to me the Tussell was sweeter than the Milchon for some reason, even though the Milchon was. They were, trying to make it as sweet as they could possibly get that one.
Yeah. You know which one I haven't had out of their core range, which is disappointing, is the Nectar d'Or.
Oh, wow.
But they took the age statement off of it. So it's NF now, and I just keep not buying it. I'm like, I'm going to find a shop one day that's going to still have the 12 age statement one, and then I'll buy it. But until then, I'm like being stubborn about it.
Well, here's the question for you. Do you like a Sauternes cask?
I've not had a lot of them, but yeah, I do.
If you do, I think you'll enjoy it. Oh. I think it's a well-done Sauternes cask whiskey. I was lucky enough to have, I think it was a 12-year statement before, and then before they dropped it. I've had both, and I will say that, yes, I do miss the powerful taste of the age stated version. The new one's not shabby. It's just not as potent, strong on the flavor like that 12-year-old was. But
sure,
I think you'd like it if you like the Kilchoman Sauternes cask. I liked that one a lot. Did you get a chance to have that one at all?
The Kilchoman.
It was kind of a love it or hate it kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't think that I did.
I'm trying to think of another really good. I'm trying to think of another really good Sauternes cask that I've had that would shine to kind of compare it to. I know I've had a couple other ones, but yeah, I wouldn't go out of your way to get it, but it might be worth a look. Maybe if we ever do, when we do, we're talking about doing a Glenmorangie maybe coming up later down the road, so maybe it might be a time to pull it out.
yeah, and like I said, I got the cake. We'll give you some of the cake, and we'll do that Malaga, and maybe we'll just throw another one in there. Why the hell not? There's so many Glenmorangies out there, and it'll be a whole fucking thing, man.
we'll go Glenmorangiana.
Yeah, we're just gonna do it up, man.
I guess let's take a look at this puppy and see what we get. I'm excited, actually. I think you're going to find this one to be a much better whiskey in general, but we'll see.
Let's hope so. Let's see what happens. What's the tail of the tape on this one?
Now, this one we could get a little bit more into, and let me...
This is, yeah. I'm interested to hear what you got to say about this, and then we'll dive in.
This is... this is more of a typical Speyside. That first one that we went through was more citrus focused. Had even a little bit, maybe a little mint in it. It was very herbal with the ginger and it had a little spice. It was kind of all over the place. This one, I think you're going to find a hell of a lot more fruit in it. This is an ex-sherry cask as well. Not really any more in depth on, the type of sherry. Let's get it when we get into it. I think we should both talk about what we think it might be.
Yeah.
And I think we could probably determine what it is by the taste and profile and finish and all that, but we'll see. 46%, 18 years.
Nice.
No chill filtering, no coloring.
Okay, Spey, I see you.
This is
what did this one run you?
This is 127, so not bad for an 18-year. Pretty good price.
Yeah, right in there. Yeah,
127, and for 46%, that's pretty decent. This also is, I mean, it's got a bottling number. It's they do a limited release, but they do this, I think, on a year basis. And when you say limited, I'm thinking, since I don't see really any hardcore numbers here, the bottling numbers,
Any
I'm think
software numbers?
I'm think it's like all in the it's most likely underneath 10,000, but not much lower. I'm going to guess probably like a 9,000 to 12,000 bottle yield, somewhere around there. What were you saying? Sorry.
Nothing. I was just making a snarky joke. I was
Oh,
asking if you had any softcore numbers on that.
softcore.
Skinemax. You got the Skinemax numbers on it?
Oh my goodness, man! I forgot about Skinemax. I
Yeah,
used to
man.
watch. That was the when I was a teenager. I was lucky enough to have cable TV back
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
day,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, then you know. Then you know. Then
You
you
remember
know.
the? Do you remember? I'm not sure if you're old enough. Do you remember that channel USA, the USA channel? You
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah,
You
totally.
remember? Do you remember the Up All Night show that they used to
Yeah,
have?
I
Rhonda
totally remember
Shear, I think
all
was
night.
her name. Rhonda Shear used to
Yeah,
do the Up
Rhonda
All
Shear.
Night.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh
That,
God.
wow, that's a throwback. That reminds me. Do you remember? Speaking of like old early '90s TV shows that were on cable, if you had cable in the early '90s, do you remember Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs on TBS, where he would go on for like 8 hours on a Friday night, like just like themed drunk talking about horror films? I loved that stuff, man. Oh my god, I would watch that dude religiously. He was like, the parents would go to bed, you sneak downstairs and got the volume down low, but you're like, he's making all these comments about all the different killings in the Friday the 13th part 37 or whatever. And yeah, fun, man. The weird old like 60s, 70s atomic age horror films. Like, oh my God, that was
One
back.
movie I one movie I remember watching back in
Or
that kind of
Love
time
Line.
period
Remember
was,
Love Line?
oh yeah,
Dr.
Adam
Drew and
Carolla and Dr. Drew. Yeah,
Love Line.
bringing back, you brought back a memory of. I remember when I was like in middle school. I want to say, so this was around like 88, 89, somewhere around there. I remember watching Evil Dead 2. Remember that when it
Yeah.
came out?
Oh man. I love the Evil Dead movies, man. I love all of them. The second and the third one are just like so ridiculous.
The shotgun on the arm.
Did you remember the TV show, or did you see the TV show? It came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know if it was Netflix or Hulu, but it was called something versus Evil Dead, and Bruce Campbell's in it. And
It sounds familiar.
yeah,
I don't think I saw it
it's
though.
awesome. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's modernized, but it's still Bruce Campbell and like all the like histrionics and ridiculousness.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. What was his name in the movie? Because that's what it's called. It's
Oh man, it's been so long since I've seen it.
yeah.
I remember I laughed so hard that when I first saw that movie, I mean, it was almost like more like watching a comedy than a horror film, because I just remember constantly laughing through the whole thing.
Ash. It's called Ash versus Evil Dead, and it came out. It's still going.
Oh
It is
wow!
on. Yeah, it's Bruce Campbell. Sam Raimi's like one of the directors, which is just
Oh
amazing.
wow! Sam Raimi's awesome.
Yeah. So it was actually canceled, but they did 3 seasons of it starting in 2018.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty damn hilarious.
I'll have to see that, because I am a huge fan of his.
Yeah, I just don't recall exactly if it was a Netflix thing. It's on one of those streaming. You can find out. But yeah, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Just do it. And Bruce Campbell. I mean, come on,
Yeah, he's like pioneer when it comes
classic.
to that.
Wow, classic. What ridiculous films that guy did. Anyways, back to the whiskey.
Yeah, this has got a really. I love the way the legs flow in this one compared to that last one. Didn't have any legs to speak of. It didn't really hold up. The 46%, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Is showing off.
They're either thinner. They're thin, but they're slower. Yeah, definitely. Nose on this. It's very similar to the 12. Robust. There's more red fruit though.
I was gonna say I get a lot more red fruit
Yeah,
and
but that
mid-level.
core like heaviness is still there, which is interesting. Oh,
Yeah,
there. I mean, but it's not dried red fruit, which makes me think this might be not a day older than 18. But I'm getting strawberry, raspberry, juicy cherry kind of thing going on.
I'm not gonna say before I taste it, like totally, but I'm suspecting this might be a PX cask,
Strawberry
maybe.
shortcake. Yeah, I'm
It
with
smells
you.
more like a
Yeah,
PX than an Oloroso,
it
but I can't.
definitely does. It's not those darker fruits. Yeah, this is more PX. I'm in agreement with you. Once I smell that strawberry and stuff, that usually makes me think PX. However, I mean, it's so dominant that it almost makes me wonder how long this would have sat in a PX. I mean, you don't ever get a fully PX aged whiskey, because it's at least not that I can think of, because it would just be so powerful, sweet.
Let me see if I can find anything else. The funny thing is, when you look at, like, only just to show you the profile difference here. Look how different the bottling is on this one, man. It's like,
Wow. Yeah.
let me try to back up. This one is so much taller and skinnier comparatively. So when
Looks
I
like
got
a
this,
gin bottle. Looks
when
like
I
a
got
high-end gin.
when I got this can, I was like, oh my god, this is like the tallest whiskey can I've ever had to deal with. It wouldn't even fit on any of my shelving. It was so tall, and that's one thing that it's very distinctful as far as like when you're looking around. Um, all the whiskeys. This one is definitely like the tallest. It's kind of weird how they did it, but the bottling, the can itself. I mean, it's got a nice look, but it had no information, absolutely zero information.
Nothing on the bottle either. But didn't you say it was non-chill and natural and all that? Is it on the bottle?
Yeah, on the bottle, it's got the non-chill filtered, no coloring added, matured and fresh sherry casks. It's it is a limit. Okay, here it's a limited release of 1,140 bottles. I thought it was more than that. So it's only 1,140 bottles. So I stand corrected. I thought it was going to be a lot more. But
I think there's little doubt this is PX. It's so sweet
on the nose, yeah, and I don't mind it. I actually every once in a while I like a PX versus an Oloroso, depending on the mood, though. Yeah, this one doesn't really have dates per se, but it does have lots of like strawberries, raspberries, maybe even like a little bit of slight basil, like an herbal note in there.
Simulcast. No, I'm not in Arizona, but I've been to Red House every single time I went to Phoenix, and I love that brewery. Yeah, that's hence the shirt. It's one of the places I always visit when I go to Phoenix, which I used to do a lot for work. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's sweet berries all across the board.
It's got some nice citrus stuff in there too, though.
I'm not getting much citrus. I'm getting vanilla.
Hopefully, get like some oranges coming up. Hopefully, thankfully the lemon's not there.
Yeah, the nose again. Another really nice nose meat. Let's see what happens.
All right, man. Cheers. Much better on the palate for me.
Yeah. Very similar in its development as the 12, where it starts very sweet and heavy, and then you get the citrus spice. But everything's just much more harmonious this time. The finish is much nicer.
And thankfully, I don't get that tinny metallic note I was getting.
Not at all.
Much better mouth coat, too.
Berries, man. Berries. And then there's a nice kind of milk chocolate covered cherry kind of thing. I don't know. And that bite too, it's more pepper than citrus. It's less acidic,
Definitely, I think the whiskey is in much better form here because even though it's higher ABV, it doesn't taste as hot as that 12 did.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, I do get like a nice like toffee, almost caramel,
Yeah.
along with the berries, but
Yeah.
it's nice.
There's more oak influence. It's like
Mm.
more. Yeah. There's more barrel happening on this.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, there's this roundness I'm getting that's more defined, and I was trying to think of what would give it that round flavor. And you're right, it's the oaky wood properties on it.
Yep.
It's got
It's not overpowering. It's not super drying or tannic. Quite nice.
I'm trying to. It does on the finish. It starts to feel like Oloroso maybe, but I think I'm getting faked out by the wood. I think the wood is giving me the roundness and not the sherry.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it. I mean, I think this is. I would be surprised if this is not PX. If this was a younger whiskey, I'd say maybe Oloroso. But at 18 years with that level of sweetness and none of the dried fruit notes, it makes me think this is PX. Let's finish things on for a little while.
I'm surprised. I mean, it does have some spice, but the spice level doesn't seem to be as bitey as it was before. But maybe it's because I haven't added water to it. Possibly.
It's that caramel and oak influence. It rounds that off. At least that's what I'm picking up.
I think you're exactly right. I think there's a little more of that thicky, sticky toffee with it, and the fruit alone is enough to wipe out all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't get as much toffee as it's a darker note for me. It's more dark chocolate cocoa kind of thing. Baking chocolate.
It is getting to that level. It's kind of cool because it feels like it's building up more and more every time I have another sip of it.
Right.
I'm gonna try to put a couple of drops on it.
Yeah, let's do that. You said this is 46%, right?
Yeah, it's 46. So you should be able to put a couple in. Not have it too diluted, hopefully.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it does have a nice.
The nose just got really interesting. It's much more diverse than the fruit notes now. It's like you're just walking through the fruit section of your local supermarket, just getting all those smells, and then there's a nice kind of spiciness behind it. Allspice, nutmeg.
Huh. It sounds really good already. Let's see. Yeah, you nailed it with the baker's chocolate. It's funny because it's sweet, but it's not. It's more cocoa powdery.
Yeah, it's more bitter, honestly. Like it's a little bit just more bitter. It's not like the 12. I got more of a milk chocolate thing. So yeah, I'm not quite. I know you said you got toffee. I'm not quite there on that, but I think we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah, it's funny because at first it was more like a toffee meets butterscotch, but the longer it built up, it went into that darker chocolate, baker's chocolate kind of feel.
And the nose is nice, though. I don't know if you're picking up the same thing I am with water, but the like cider apple thing is coming through a lot now, and a bit again that melon note, which we picked up, or at least which we got on the 12, is starting to be here a bit more pear, honeydew kind of thing, whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, that's like a complete change almost on the. Not in a bad way. It definitely is. So well, it brought the orchard forward. That's for sure. Because you're right, like red, delicious apples and pears.
Ooh. Oh man, wait till you try it with water. Okay.
Legs still hold. I love it. It's got a nice thickness. I love that this is more of a medium mouth coat than that first one too, which I like.
Ooh, with water, that really turns this thing into a good whiskey. Malted milk balls, chocolate.
Yeah, Whoppers.
Chocolate. The pepper, the spice note is still there. It's like cinnamon, dry cinnamon. There's still some like nutmeg. Then
Oh wow, yeah.
Those red fruits, and the finish extends even longer on this.
That nutmeg is like is way up in the front with just a couple of drops.
Hell yeah, man. This has gotten much more interesting.
That spice level is nice. It's not too in your face.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's well rounded. It's like it's there, but it's it's like you cut the sharp edges off. Like the 12 was just so dominated by those. For me, it was like the citrus lemon lime. That lemon lime is here, a little bit of that bitterness, but like man, it's just playing much better with the vanilla, the caramel, which I guess I would, the more bourbon-y notes that I'm getting off of this. And again, that sweetness, the sweet berry kind of hue that this has, I'm still with you. I think it's PX.
Do you get like a Werther's Original kind of taste at all?
Let's try again.
I might just be getting a little more toffee stuff. I'm trying to see what it is. It's like
I mean, with you saying that,
butterscotch or something.
Yeah, it's not quite getting to the butterscotch level.
It doesn't have enough cream, I guess, but it's got this like little touch of vanilla. It's got a little touch of toffee, a little touch of caramel. It's definitely got almost like a lot of influence, not just from the sherry, but that bourbon oak. I'm sure they've got going on too. It's a pretty good marriage.
I'm wondering if this is Firstville bourbon. Because those bourbon notes are strong on this.
You would think that they would claim it, but they don't really say. They just say they do say fresh sherry cask. I mean, that could be anything, but
yeah, fresh. Like, is that even a? It's small batch. Whatever.
I'm so fresh.
Yeah.
Lord. Scare you all now.
Too real.
Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh, man.
Oh man.
Well, this is a huge step up. Obviously, we're talking $30 to $120 and 6 years, and to qualify it.
But night and day difference on the whiskey. I'll agree with you there.
Yeah, this is significantly more interesting than the other one, and quite good, to be honest. I really am getting a lot of bourbon notes off of this, which
I concur on that one. It's funny, but I still get enough sherry notes to make it feel like a sherried whiskey, which is nice, even though those bourbon notes are very much in your face at the same time.
Yeah. I think you were right, though. I mean, I'm with you on the PX, but it's like it's much like the PX thing has dropped off a lot with the additional water. Like it feels like the bourbon notes are coming through a lot more. But on that nose neat, yeah, my guess would have been PX too. I mean, maybe like manzanilla, but there's no way this is manzanilla. There's no way.
I'm not getting any like marzipan or anything almondy or anything like hazelnut or anything off of it, like I usually would a manzanilla, I think. Or that's like a phenotype, right?
Yeah. I mean, I find it very similar to sort of like Sauternes.
Yeah, you're right.
I kind of find it in that flavor profile. But again, like so much is like it's contingent on the distillate. So it's like
I love this one because even though there's a lot of oak and there's a lot of sherry in this dram, there's not any over oakiness going on, and there's no any over sherried like sulfuric stuff going on.
None of that.
It's pretty well tamed. I'm not sure if it's because they kept it at 46, but
apple cinnamon.
yeah, it's like apple cinnamon Cheerios in a
Right?
glass.
It's like somebody just handed you a glass of apple cider with a cinnamon stick in it.
And I love the way that it plays with the wood. That's the most interesting part to me, is the wood sherry play that you're getting.
It's a surprisingly delicate whiskey. Even with the spice note that you get, like this is lighter than the 12, I think.
Lighter is when you say lighter,
it's viscosity.
Yeah,
it's lighter. It seems like.
Well, I don't. If you're talking viscosity, like thickness, I thought this was heavy.
Maybe mouth coat's a better way to describe it.
I thought the mouth coat was thicker on this one, but I agreed with you on the. I think whatever's giving that first one the metallic kind of a tinniness, to me, it's making it feel thicker than it really is on the 12. I mean, I'm trying to think of how to word that, but it's almost like there's whatever gives it that property. It's so present that it makes it feel thicker than it maybe it is, but I don't know. I wish there was an easy way to measure something like that, where you could just like put it in some sort of device and it tell you like the viscosity or some sort of like oil level or whatever. I mean, ABV is like the only thing we usually have to go with when it comes to that, but there's definitely something else to it that gives it. I'm not sure what it is about whiskey distillation process that gives it its Cody character besides ABV. Does anybody know what that might be?
I mean, I would argue. I mean, I would probably say that at least like the type of. I mean, the barrel quality, right? I mean, first fill, I think in general will give it more of a higher viscosity because you're just getting more of that influence in it. But I'm sure there are other factors as well. I have to ask you this though: are you picking up like a subtle earthy tone to this? Like if you in the nose, especially like it's kind of in the background, but it's subtle, but there's a bit of a kind of just like earthy, fresh dirt type thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's a little bit there, man. I'm really enjoying it.
I think I know what you're talking about. Let me dive in with a fresh, neat pour and see if I can. Because I think I was actually even getting it on the palate toward the end, but
like mushroom almost, subtle like mushroom.
Spey. To me, I'm trying to get it. Hold on, give me 1 second.
I think this is better than the Loch Lomond 18, and I'll just say it right now. That's not saying much, but we're talking about price range and quality comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like this. I'm not. I mean, I know what you're going for. I'm trying to decide if I would go as full-fledged as mushroom gravy type thing, but to me it's much more. It's closer to like I want to say like a ginger snap cookie kind of a feel.
Oh yeah, so that's funny you bring that up. Like I got a lot of that on the 12. I get less of it here. If I would say it's more gingerbread. If I was going to talk about this one, like it's or like pumpkin bread, zucchini bread type thing.
Yeah, it's got like a pumpkin ginger blend breadiness, almost like a sourdough meets gingerbread.
Yeah.
But not in a overly bitter or bad way. Just kind of definitely gives a little bit of bitterness to balance off all the sweetness, saltiness, and even sour citrus type notes that that you can definitely, if you pick them all apart, if you really get down, because like you said, there's like a little bit of lime and lemon and all sorts of stuff going on in this one. I think that lime also gives it kind of like a little edge of the bitter tinge to it. Thankfully, there's no grapefruit in this, though.
No grapefruit. Yeah, no Cascade hop notes. Yo, man. Okay, I'm digging it, man. You know what this would be really good with? A nice cup of dark coffee.
Yeah,
Oh man.
like a black coffee,
Yeah,
just
just
straight
like
up
a black, robust, either espresso
espresso. Yeah,
or like a dark roast. Just very earth toned coffee. This would be, or with a creme brulee. This would kind of juxtapose off of like a creme brulee really well.
and a fat stogie.
Yeah. Or a blunt, right?
There you go.
Roll up a Philly, y'all.
Where's my spliff?
Yeah, right?
This show's we're going off the rails. Oh, I love it. I love that. It's funny because, I mean, to me, I go in for a nose and I'm like citrus. I go for a nose, I'm like spice heaven.
Yeah.
Go in for the nose, berry heaven. It's like, it's always in the pocket, but it's always changing. This one is not as disjointed, thankfully, as that first one.
No, this is a significant step up. Man, God, that white chocolate, milk chocolate, hazelnut, man. Yo, this is good.
The hazelnut does come in toward once you've had a few drinks and the finish is more profound. It gets more of that hazelnutty kind of a feel. It's all over the place, but it is a good complex whiskey, I have to say.
It is. Yeah, should we jump into scores?
Yeah, go ahead and you go first.
I'll go first on this one. So, I was poo-pooing the 12 a bit, and I will say that like this one is night and day. It does have some similarities to the 12, much more rounded, more complexity, just more enjoyable in general. I think I was 2.25 on the 12. This one, I mean, you said it's around like 110, 120 bucks.
127 to be exact. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I think about other things in the price range for that Glenmorangie 12 or Glenmorangie 18. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's to that level. This is a bit more assertive, and I think that maybe takes a bit away from the complexity, but there's a lot going on here and all the flavors are really loud. This isn't bad, man. If you can find this for $100, this is a diamond in the rough for sure. I'm 3.5 on this one. Actually, wait, let me rephrase that. I'm going to go, 3.5. I'll boldly say 3.5 on this.
I think you hit it
totally good. Especially if you like bourbon influenced whiskey. I mean, this isn't Deanston 18, but it's in that range. And I do think there's a PX thing. The PX is very diminished with water. And as you drink it, I think it becomes less and less relevant. For me, the bourbon notes just take over. But nonetheless, it's still there subtly, and it's giving a little bit of like accent and panache to this. I'll go 3.5 on this one.
Yeah, I think it's a really good synopsis of the deal. I love the way it plays both for sherry fans and for bourbon fans. It's not too much it's not a one-trick pony, thankfully. It's not overly woody like a triple wood to me sometimes feels, or like it's not overly, in-your-face sherry like, some of the sherry bombs might be. If you are looking for more of a focused dram, this is not for you. But if you do want something that's going to tickle lots of different ivories for you, you want a little something of everything. This is actually a pretty good pickup, I have to say. It's above average. How much above average? It's tough to say, but I think I'm right along with Malt on this one. This one is like it's definitely above a 3 being average, a little bit above 3.25. I'm going to go 3.5, I think, on this one as well. Right. I'm not sure. The only thing that I'm really knocking it. I mean, I wish the finish was a little bit longer. That's one thing that I do enjoy the finish. To me, it's like a medium finish. It could be, if it was like a long finish, I would definitely bump it up to like a 4.
Mm, mm,
I
okay.
love the craft of it is beautiful. As far as I love the way that they do the no coloring, no chill filtering, age statement, and the 46%. The marketing behind this brand is very strange. I don't really score that part of it, but I'm glad that they fine tuned it to be modern. I don't like the fact that they overstack the bottle this high. I wish. I
Yeah.
mean, I hate to say it, but it does make a big difference when you're collecting whiskey. Like, the nice little fat bottles at Brooklady, Bobler, Glenkinchie, Glenellicky, uh,
Bellini.
Elberfeldy, even Ballack and Edgerdower. They all have these nice, short, fatty kind of bottles. That's what I'm looking for in a whiskey, not a skinny, slim. I mean, it's almost like they are marketing this.
This is the E.H. Taylor bourbon of presentations of Scotch. It's like super long and thin.
It's almost like they purposely are trying to cater to females, I think, with this, because I mean, it's got a purple color, and
Uh,
it's very slender, very very. It's slender. It's got like gold outlines all around the bottom and around their logo. It's all like gold surrounded and very purple and slender. So it's almost like they're trying to go that direction, and that's fine. I'm not definitely not anti-female when it comes to marketing, when it comes to whiskey and all that. But I'm just surprised of how much it's gone in that direction when they've released this one. But if that's my only really gripe, that's not much of a gripe, really. I just wish it fit better on a nice shelf. That's all.
yeah, there you go.
But
There you
quality
go.
wise, yeah, I think it's 3.5.
We got 3.5s across the board on the Spey 18, and then on the Spey 12, you were 3. I was 2.25.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the Spey review, and if any of you are ever pick any of these up, I mean, be sure to let us know in the chat what your thoughts are on them.
It's interesting. Hopefully they'll go and think about maybe focusing more on some age statements and less on the NASs. If I was going to try to give advice to their distillery, and I'm not an expert by any means, but if
No, you are.
no, if I'm just trying to say, like, if they wanted to try to find ways to make folks like you and I happier, they should try to get a 12 and a 15-year offering. If they want to focus the 15 on mostly sherry, that's fine. If they want to focus, on a specific cask maturation instead, that's like, off the wall, like a Sauternes or Mazzanita, that's fine too, whatever they want to do. But I would definitely try to have a 12 and a 15 at a minimum for your line of releases, just kind of like Aaron did. I think Aaron did a perfect job with their new lineup, don't you think?
Agreed.
Because they have, the quarter cask, get the Bothy, you've got all these NASs, but you also have the 10, I think a 12, 18, a 21. I mean, they did a great job, I think, on their.
And
they're probably bigger
because their labeling and stuff was outdated. And yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with you. Like normally, I think most of these most rebrands tend to go in a negative direction. I think Highland Park, for example, but and maybe even Old Pulteney, but we can talk about that some other time. But yeah, I think Aaron definitely hit the nail on the head.
And the cool thing about Aaron and Spey are they're both independent. They're both completely separate from the big boys, which is kind of good to see. I don't want to see all these distilleries end up in the hands of, always being with the big conglomerates, because I think it kind of ruins some of the Some of
Yeah.
the brands, not all the brands, but some of them, because they
Speaking of,
always.
yeah, and speaking of independent, I'm my post whiskey tasting tonight is going to be a very much independent kick-ass rum, which is
Oh,
Foursquare Sagacity. It's a 12 years old ex-bourbon, ex-Madeira cask, 48%. Yo, if I don't kill this bottle, I'm going to get you a sample of this, because this is a rum like you. I don't know how much of a rum drinker you are, but this is unbelievably good. And they're doing incredible stuff at Foursquare. It's all very craft distilled. They do, it's not, they don't add a bunch of sugars to make it sickly sweet. Like, this is a rum that has a lot of complexity and deliciousness. And I don't know if any of you guys have had Foursquare before, but keep your eyes peeled for Foursquare rum. And this stuff is incredible. And yeah, Telex, I'll figure out a way to get a sample of this to you, because this is something else. Yeah, Stephen Connor, totally, man. Whiskey drinkers rum. Dude, you hit the nail on the head. This stuff, man, holy shit. This is from the exclusive cask series. Like, man, this stuff is next level.
yeah, I haven't had that particular. I'm not a huge rum drinker. I've had a few here and there. My favorite that I ever had was, I was just lucky enough to run into a tasting and had like an El Dorado. I think it was like a 15-year. It was pretty good, solid with, drum.
I totally hear you, man. And like this will change. This will open up new doors, man.
Cool.
I did not. I've had a lot of the very very sweet rums, good rums, but very sweet. Like this, a lot of dryness. It's not overly sugared. It's at high ABV. Man, it's changed my perspective a bit on rum. And yeah, I'll figure out. I'll definitely I'll pour one of these for you.
That's cool, man.
Let's say you have it, if for no other reason than to just try something new, because I've been waiting to get my hands on this. I couldn't find any of this in Philly. Luckily, I've been able to find it here, and yeah, it is stellar stuff. You hit the nail on the head. Exactly.
I might have something to. Do you like gin?
Yes.
Have you ever had Scottish gin?
Is it what's it? Botanist, the one from Bruichladdich?
No, I don't believe it is. I think it might be Eden Mill.
Oh, well, I definitely want to try it then. I've had the Botanist, which is the Jim McEwen one, which is good.
If I still have it, I see some bottles back there. I can't remember which ones I've dabbled in and which one I haven't. But if I have a sample I haven't messed with, I'll definitely send that over. Ben says that you're all done with your Spey. Boy, I'm a very slow sipper. Haven't even taken my sip of Spey from Mariette. Let me know what you. I want you to sip that, Ben, and let us know what you think. Because I've heard a couple other reviewers review that one and seem to like it, but sometimes it's hard to tell. Even when you have multiple reviewers, what the real deal is sometimes. So let me know what you thought of that one overall. I'm just curious, because I've heard good things, but I don't know.
Ooh,
wow, man, a 21 Marsala finish.
We're going to be doing with Keg soon. Speaking of, should we do a little preview of what's ahead? I realize we're about to hit that end of the hour, and so.
Yeah, sure. Let's pull it up and.
Yeah, so I'm going to be, again, like I won't be doing the happy hour again next week, and I won't be, Telex and Malt Tasty Tuesday show will be hiatus next week for the holidays. But when we return, we'll be doing Akintoshan on December 1st, followed by Lecheg. We'll do the 10 and the 18, and then we're going to dive into some Ben Romick organic and Ben Romick 15 on the 15th.
I'm so looking forward to that 15 Ben Romick, because I love their Imperial Proof, and I love their the Peat Smoke 2015 and 16 I've had.
Oh, yeah,
I've never had the 15, and that's like their oldest whiskey they have, so I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, so we'll be doing Ben Romick. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And then on the 22nd, we got a knock 12, a knock 18, and then we're going to close 2020 with Ardbeg 10, and then an Ardbeg Black CR, the committee release, versus the Ardbeg Black limited release. So we got a bunch of good ones coming up to close out 2020. So I hope you all, if you haven't yet, tell us the Whiskey Tech, sub Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. Give us a thumbs up at least. And, we got a lot of good content and Whiskey Chat coming up in the next couple of weeks. So it should be a lot of fun.
And I'm looking forward to revisiting that both the Ardbeg Limited and the committee release Black, because it's been a while. And there was a lot of mixed reviews out of a lot of our fans. There have been kind of ups and downs, and the same thing with it was funny because I felt the way a lot of you guys feel towards the Black. I'm not talking about the people that watch. I felt that way about the Lefroy Carriages Port wine thing. It didn't impress me as much as it usually does with the Carriages releases. Not as much as the Black. I preferred the Black a lot more, but some people tend to like that one more, the Carriages Port wine, than the Black. So it'll be, and I kept some of that too. So it'll be nice to go back and do a side by side a little bit with that to see if. Do you still have any of that Carriages?
I sure do. Yeah, I mean, and that's what makes us fun. We're just two guys who have a bit of an understanding of Scotch and decent palates, and we share our flavor opinions. And I would take the Lefroy over the Ardbeg Black, probably. Well, close. I don't know. We'll see what the limited release does. But hey, it's all about fun. It's all about trying new stuff, and so that'll be a good time. I'm really looking forward to that because I've not had the limited release. So
Dustin's funny because he's like, I don't like either one of them.
Well, yeah. Well, that's not
it's Dustin. He can buy whatever. He's lucky to buy whatever he wants, basically.
Yeah, I haven't had the standard release, so that'll be fun to try. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to that. I opened it just to pour your sample, but I didn't get into the bottle, so it'll be new for me too. It'll be kind of a nice surprise to see, which one is better, because I've actually heard some people say that they preferred the limited, which is a lower ABV, than the committee.
I heard that a lot about the drum. I did not like the drum committee release very much at all. I mean, it's not that I didn't like it. It was just that it was like meh. But I liked the Ardbeg Black committee release enough.
Yeah.
And so it'll be fun to see, how it tastes compared to the other one. So that'll be a good time.
I'm surprised that DHS Dustin didn't like the last three Carriages, really, because I wasn't a big fan of this latest one at all. I'll be honest with you. I was surprised at how much I wasn't into it.
I liked it better than the Triple Wood. The Triple Wood cast strength didn't quite do it for me. The Fino I thought was okay, but the one right before that, the fourth one back, the quarter cask,
yeah,
amazing. Yeah, that one I love.
I'm a little bit different. Like, to me, I did enjoy the Fino, and I'm surprised that Dustin didn't enjoy the Fino, because I thought that was a solid done. I bought two of those Finos because I liked it that much, and I usually don't buy two Carriages series unless I really, really, really love it. And that one I actually got two of. The Triple Wood version, at first, I'll have to admit, I was not a huge fan, but I thought about it, and if I think, if I want a really like a heavy wood in a cast strength, very, very heavily bourbon influenced whiskey, I thought that Carriages Triple Wood cast strength was pretty good. That's the only one I think that I differ with you guys on.
Yeah, I expected more out of the Triple Wood. I really did. I was excited as hell when I saw that, because I loved the quarter cast strength. I thought, like, hell yeah, this is one of the best Carriages releases I've had since the 2015 200th anniversary. But it didn't go to that next level. And honestly, I think the quarter cast strength is the one that has stuck with me the longest. The Fino was solid. The Triple Wood was, and then the port wine one this year was like decent. I mean, I liked it, but it just wasn't It wasn't amazing. What I would really love to see, I'll be honest with you, is lower cask strength.
Oh yeah, that
lower cask strength.
I think would be a good agreement on that.
I don't care. Charge 150 for it. I will buy lower at cask strength. I mean, that's at 48% already, but imagine that, bump it up to 57, 58.
I think even Dustin would agree with us on a lower cask strength. You got to admit, Dustin, that sounds pretty damn good. I would hope, especially if they threw an age statement on there, that would be even better.
Ben Demon and Andrew Page are both big fans of the port and the Cartridge Triple Wood. Yeah, I mean, that's always fun.
I'm surprised that Dustin thought it was the least favorite. The Triple Wood was his least favorite. I will say initially, I was not a fan. I think that one. I'm not sure how quickly you went through your all's bottles, but that one after oxidation was glorious. I mean, it took a few months, but once I got to like the third, fourth month and it being like fully open, I thought it was a beautiful dram after that. Before, I did not like it that much.
I mean, but here's the thing about the Triple Wood, and this is my only like pushback, is the Lafroig 10 cask strengths have all been better in the last couple of years than that Triple Wood cask strength, in my opinion. Like the Lafroig 10 cask strength, I think is still just the top of the line for them, and I would probably grab that over the Triple Wood.
He's saying that he liked the 3 before the Portwood. I mean, he says port. I'm assuming he means the second Portwood, not the 2013, but the newest port.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, then we're on the same page then, because I really liked the triple, the Fino, and the quarter cask, like Malt was saying. Those were solid. I mean, hell, I even liked the Madeira. I know some people weren't into that at all because it was so sweet and almost candy-like. But
the Madeira is my least favorite that I've had. Yeah,
my least favorite, sadly, I hate to say it, but it might be that quarter cask.
Really?
I know it's weird. I love the Amontillado. I love the Madeira.
Yeah,
I even like the Fino and the triple. My least favorite is the port, actually, the newest port one, and the second is probably the quarter cask, only because if you do like a straight up in your face whiskey without a lot of like fruit or other things, then it is a better whiskey for that.
Exactly, and that's precisely why I love it so much. Is it's like no fucks. There's no subtlety. There's no like you're gonna pick up intricate notes. That whiskey is straight up citrus peat smoke, and it just bashes you in the face with it. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I still think the 10 cask strengths are usually better, mostly because like you get a more complexity. But man, that quarter cask strength was just fire. I absolutely loved it. But with that, man, I gotta sign off a couple minutes early here. But
yeah.
It's been fun. Like we were saying, we'll be back to do Tasty Tuesday show in 2 weeks. Akintoshin. I'll be off next week, but he may be doing some a live stream. So
I might do an off the wall one, maybe.
Sub if you haven't subbed to Telex or myself.
Thumbs up before you go, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure you do that. And we will be. As we said, we got a bunch of good whiskey tastings coming up ahead, so we hope you all can join us. Appreciate you all. Since I won't see you, have a blessed Thanksgiving. Wear a mask. Things are getting crazy out there. Stay safe. Be well. I hope you and yours keep things safe, and you all are able to have a good Thanksgiving with everybody. So I appreciate you all. Appreciate all your support. And Telex, my friend. With that, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time to talk Akintoshin.
Yeah, we're going to lay low pretty much this Thanksgiving and do the core family thing. And I've been really ultra careful. I've been lucky, knock on wood, not to have any issues, and we want to keep it that way, especially if we make it about 4 or 5 more months, we'll be out of the woods if we're lucky.
For sure.
I'm only hopeful. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Salanchava, and I really appreciate your all's dropping by, and we'll have to do it again soon.